Okay, next day. So I've just taken the oil cooler off of the mount, and these actually look really dry. This oil or dirt is probably just mist from inside the engine bay, getting thrown about by the fan. This is the new oil cooler. There was nothing wrong with the old one, I don't think. I just changed it because I had it, and to eliminate any chance of leaking, but obviously we have leaks other places. So let me just show you the different types of seals you can get for oil coolers. So I think these are for earlier type oil coolers, and then you get two types of the ones we're going to use. So the ones for this are these larger diameter, that looks like, I don't know, maybe 10mm or something. This is maybe 8. So there's lots of different types for different coolers over the years. So I'm going to obviously put new ones in, even though these have only been in for a few months. I'll clean everything up and put the new ones in. I'm going to use a little bit of the aviation gasket seal, which you can see I must have used before. I don't remember using it, but I must have used before. And then if you look over to the engine, you can see there's some leftover crud from the aviation sealer, so make sure all your surfaces are clean. And then I'll add a little bit more and get that back on and get all this tinware back together. I just mounted this on as well, so I can start it here on the table. I'll put a new oil filter on, and I'm going to put, I think I'm going to put like conventional points and condenser, and show you a way of setting your timing with a light. And get this, let's just get this running on the table and see if there's any leaks anywhere else, or if I have fixed the ones where I thought they were. Right, so the oil cooler is back onto the bracket, and you can see there that it's nice and flush. I've cleaned up where the seals go, both on the engine and the bracket. I always make sure that these new rubbers fit nicely, because I've had before some cheaper ones that were quite sloppy in here, but these are nice and spongy and they fit in there really nicely. So I'm just going to put a dab of this Permatex aviation gasket sealer on for good measure, and then bolt this back on. So almost back together. All that's left now is the carbs, distributor, fuel lines, put the exhaust back on, just the muffler, and then I'll get the starter motor. I'm not sure if I have a spare one actually. Hook a battery up on a little fuel tank, and let's get this running, and hopefully, fingers crossed, leak free. I need to put a new oil filter on there as well. So almost done, almost ready. Okay, so today is Sunday. I was here for a few hours yesterday putting the engine back together so I could test run it on the table to check if it's still leaking and everything runs okay. I got this small fuel tank here to run some fuel from, and I charged the battery, etc. And it's pretty much ready to go, except for the exhaust obviously isn't back on. But I noticed the problem just before I was leaving yesterday. This gearbox half, or part that I had cut off for this very reason, you can see in here there's a little brass bush, and that is like a guide for when the starter motor slips out to go on the ring gear. And then if you look on the gearbox that I have actually in the car, the bush is a different size. And that is basically because this is from a 12 volt car, and the reason I put this in this car is because it has a wider track than the earlier gearboxes. So there is a solution to this. You can basically put a bush conversion so you can run like a 12 volt starter on a 6 volt gearbox. And I thought I had one of these. I had thought of this, but I checked through all my spare parts and I couldn't find it. So perhaps I didn't have it or I can't find it. So that obviously is a bit of a problem. So, because I want to get this back in the car, because I'd like to put this in storage for the winter, I've decided, because it's only 4 bolts, to put this back in. I'm just going to put the engine back in and hope for the best. If it's leaking, I'll just have to deal with it in the spring, I think. And so 2 shakes of a lamb's tail and it's back in there. I mean, if I had tried to run this on the table, of course I would have saved time if there is a leak still there. But at the same time, it's literally 20 minutes and the engine's back in. I just need to hook up a few things that I would have had to anyway, like take fuel out the tank and everything. So I did want to do it for the video because it would have been nice, but I think there'll be other opportunities probably with the Karmann Ghia engine. So I'm just going to get these carbs back on and hopefully, and exhaust obviously, and hopefully we'll get it started. Before I rebuilt the carbs, it started to, well, it wouldn't start basically, and it backfired really badly. So I just assumed that that same problem had got worse. And one of the reasons I thought, okay, it's time to rebuild the carbs. So off camera 10 minutes ago, I again tried to start it and it just massively backfired, big bang. So I almost just thought, okay, it's going to go in the storage and I'm going to leave it there till next spring. But I then decided to take off this second distributor that I've been using with this AccuSpark module. And I have actually bought the points and everything to put this back to original. I then decided to put the 1, 2, 3 ignition back in and it fired up straight away. So I've just topped the oil up. I'm going to throw everything back on and then fire it up to show you guys. Okay, so it's all back together. So let's fire it up. Okay, so the car is now running, which is great, fantastic. I'm quite relieved because before it wouldn't even idle, you know, so at least kind of eliminated the problem of that. But I still would like to try going back to conventional type points. So I have here on the table 009 Bosch distributor, which had this AccuSpark module in that has failed. So I have got some Baru points and a condenser from Baruzzi. So I'm going to throw this together and then I'll show you a way of getting the timing kind of about right by using a lamp. So let's get this together and throw it in the car. Right, so I've put the conventional style points in this 009 Bosch distributor and put it in the car, and I have set the engine to top dead center. Actually it's just before top dead center. I think the mark on this is 7 degrees before top dead center. And a little trick that I don't remember where I got it from So you put one side of the test light on the negative terminal on your coil, which is the cable that runs to your distributor, and then the other side of the probe you put on the case of the distributor. And basically, if you turn this, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the light just came on then. So you turn the distributor just at the point the light comes on, which means the points are now closed, so it's completed the circuit. So that's a good basis to start for your distributor timing. So let's just tighten this up and let's see if it starts, shall we? Okay, just went for a test drive. No popping, no banging, smooth as silk. I made a little adjustment to the distributor just to fine tune it, but that tuning trick with the light seemed to work pretty good. So I'm super happy, super relieved. I don't know if the leaks have been fixed yet. The engine's nice and warm, so I'll leave it overnight and see if there's any spots on the floor. So we'll find out. So hopefully I've got somewhere. Next thing I need to do is cut out part of the roll cage and put those new seats in, and then the car will go in storage for the winter before the snow comes, and then I can get on with the Karmann Ghia engine. So I think that's it for this episode. Thanks again so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like what you're watching, and there'll be plenty more coming soon. Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers.